Welcome to Dahi Raids, and I hate FireKnight. So today we're going to be looking at FireKnight's Castle Stage 10, and as you can see here, I have a team going for it, and I'm running this because I recently pulled a 6-star stole for Neldor, and I'll link that video in the comments. So I pulled a few souls for the last event. We need for this 2 ally attackers, an AoE nuker for the waves, and then 2 champions with freeze on a fairly consistent basis. Neldor is great because he also has decreased speed, so Neldor is taking the place that Carl previously would have taken as the only other champion I have that has freeze and decreased speed. So let's see how it works. And I know this is not accessible to everybody. It's barely accessible to me. So I know it's a stretch for some people, but the components don't change. For instance, those 2 ally attackers could maybe be 2 Farrakins, or a Farrakin and a Lanicus, or Longbeard or Lonatarl. Any ally attackers will do. Podrick and Cardiel are better because I think they are some of the few that include everybody on the team. So that covers the ally attackers, and what's good with it is also that Podrick will speed boost as well on his A3. The bad thing, however, about Podrick is that his A1 decreases the cooldown on some of the skills. Why is that a bad thing? Because if Newt, so Blessed Bash is great, but if Newt gets that back too quick, so if he actually gets that refreshed on his next turn, he won't be able to place the cooldown, or he won't be able to decrease the boss's turn meter, and will be out of sync, and the boss will get a turn. So not always a good thing. You see he's after getting a decreased cooldown there. So we'll have to see how the rest of this runs. And this is why, So fantastic progress, but the boss gets a turn, does that. And now we're in trouble. So unless both Podrick and Cardiel get an ally attack out immediately. Okay, if Cardiel gets it as well. This is really not representative. This is a bit of a get out of jail card here. But we won't get to go again in time by Newt, so he will probably kill everyone here. So that's why Podrick may not be the best choice at times. So it's all about minimizing inconsistencies in the run. We'll get back out of this one because everyone survived. I do have a decrease attack on Neldor, but I don't have the A3 switched on, for the simple reason I don't want him using that. I want decreased speed out there as fast as possible. So this is actually a good example of failing successfully. No, still 43 turns. I thought that was my fastest turn count. Now, so what can we do to mitigate some of this? So if I look at the champions here, we'll go recently used first, and we have everybody there. So Razelvarg is excellent. He doesn't need to place any debuffs. He just needs to nuke, and he needs to triple hit on the shield all the time. So there's no issues there. One thing I could possibly do to get the shield down earlier is instead of Soul Reap, I could put on Phantom Touch, but I don't want to do that because I find Soul Reap way more useful in a lot more places. Also, to get through the waves quicker, we could always put on Crushing Rend. And long-term goal for him, or medium-term, is to end up in Crushing Rend. Where are you? So that he'll ignore the hits. At the moment, if I equipped it, he would ignore the first 2 defense for the first 2 hits in each round, and would ignore 1% for every 25 levels. So that'd be really good. When he gets to level 6 though, when it's every hit, and has the +10 speed as well, that's what will be going on him. I do love Soul Reap, but Crushing Rend will be better at that stage by a long shot. So he needs no change. Podrick, the A1, so this is what I was talking about here. Attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally's active skill by 2 turns. And if we are unfortunate, that lands on Newt, and that means that he gets back to his A3 too early. And once he gets back to that too early, it's pretty much game over, because he'll use that. Now, what I could do to remove inconsistencies is have him use that once and then not ever again. That's a way to go, but it also means you have greater consistency but less speed by a long shot. So we had 43 turns on that run there. Then we have Cardial. If you look, all of these champions are over 250 speed, with a couple of them being over 300. I think Neldor might be the slowest at the moment. Yeah, but that'll be rolled to speed. So it's all about going fast. But yeah, Cardial again doesn't need any change, I don't think. Will just be about doing the AoE attack the whole time as often as possible, and joining in with his passive, which allows him to join in 15% of the times. Neldor then is where all of the problems start. One thing that could help me out quite a bit is masteries. I have none on Neldor. Everybody else is good enough. Podrick, it's not going to really matter too much. But Neldor, it will, so we want the likes of this here. So attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. That's really good in isolation. So 3 times at random means that he's attacking the boss with all of those hits, but it's only 30% booked to 40% chance of placing freeze, which is quite low. So it means that every time he's hitting the boss, there's a 60% chance that he won't do that, which is causing a lot of inconsistency. You're going to hear the word inconsistency a lot. So this I have turned off. I could turn it back on, but it means that we're not getting the A1 out as much, and that's trouble. And then this is what he starts off with, is placing the decreased speed, which also has a 50 booking to 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed for 2 turns. So that's really good here. And also his freeze debuff whenever an ally places it. So whenever Newt places it, this champion has a 30% chance to attack the target with their default skill, so he'll join in with this as well. Yeah, I need to examine whether or not he's worth it, and I need to bump up the masteries. Let's go back to FireKnight and see if we can see what a successful run looks like. So back at the FireKnight now, and as we can see, we're going with the same team. I've sped it up a little bit so as we aren't here all day. And we can see Blessed Bash there taking a chunk off. Neldor lands his decreased speed, and this time I've left on his decreased attack as well, so we can see he lands it here along with decreased accuracy. So chunks of damage getting taken down, but we'll survive the AoE here now, and the 2 ally attackers will now come back in with their ally attack. Funnily enough, it's in the clues in the name, and we knock back a chunk of the turn meter. He'll be very close to death now soon, and once that's in place, It's just a matter of whittling down his health bar, and Newt is the specialist at that. So that's it, that's my FireKnight. Thanks for joining, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.